Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And tonight we're talking about Doctor Who Season 11, Episode 3, Rosa. A real light, non-controversial episode, I thought. Just kidding. So, before I even get started here, before I approach this episode, I'm just going to give a brief recap because I'm very curious to see what the audience thought of this. Now, hopefully this will be our new time with Doctor Who episodes. I do have access to watching them on the BBC live, but the first two episodes were kind of catered to the UK. I wanted to do one for people here in the States. It just aired on BBC America, at least on the East Coast. I don't know how many people got the feed. So yeah, before I even get into spoiler territory, there is so yes, this episode was about Rosa Parks. They went there. So I'm going to separate the message from the episode. The message is racism is bad, segregation is bad, Rosa Parks is a hero. She's a hero to everybody. She's a hero to the world. So this is whatever criticisms I have about this as a show, as a episode of Doctor Who that is supposed to be entertainment, is not related to the message. So I hope we got that clear. Okay, message good, show not really a good episode of television. And I'll tell you why. I wish they would have shown Rosa Parks a little more respect as giving her a better story. And you know, this is the problem the writers had, and I don't know who wrote this episode. I didn't check. I don't know if it was Chibnall or not. This episode reminded me a lot of Fear Her, if anybody remembers Fear Her. And there was a message in that episode as well. And it's widely considered one of the Love and Monsters and Fear Her are widely considered the two worst episodes of Tennant's era. Fear Her was about the little girl and the drawings and the monster in the closet. And it's about basically child abuse. So the message in that, of course, is child abuse is bad. Yes, it is. But the episode wasn't very good. It just wasn't good. So what they did here with Rosa Parks, and God, I almost didn't want to cover this because I didn't want because we try to keep things fun here. We do not do politics. We don't really dive into this. Most serious issue we get into is canon on Star Trek. And this is stuff for philosophers and other people. But what they did with Rosa Parks here is they did a story about her that was really, this was an episode for kids. This was truly, Doctor Who was very, I don't know, elementary YA. That's what they turned it into. The bad guy was ridiculous, and I'll talk about that in the podcast. But they really, if they're going to tell a Rosa Parks story, they kind of went there sometimes, but then they kind of dialed it back. Now, we couldn't have a situation where the Doctor helped her in any way. So all they did was protect history, which is fine. The problem is whatever, and again, talking about this just on a episodic level of television, you're only as good as your bad guy, and the bad guy was basically a racist from space, and that's all we knew about him. We really didn't know much more. So and what happens in the episode is that they're still trying to get back home, and it's been 14 attempts, and the TARDIS is doing what the TARDIS does, and it turns out Jodie Whittaker's Doctor can't pilot it any better than any other Doctor, which is good. That's consistent with the story. And they land in 1955 Montgomery, Alabama, which wasn't a fun place for Black people at all. And we get to see that right away. So they start out the episode. They show Rosa Parks taking the bus and her getting kicked out because she was sitting in the wrong part of the bus. And then we have the TARDIS landing, and they find they're in Montgomery, Alabama. And as soon as they walk out of the TARDIS, they experience some pretty horrid racism. But they continue to venture out. They're trying to figure out what's going on. The Doctor's reading a bunch of Atron energy, which is from the TARDIS. We've had episodes about this previously. and she tracks it down to a guy that, and I'm really going to basically go over a recap here. I'm not going to go into every detail because I just want to get to the chat real quick. They find an escaped prisoner who has a vortex manipulator, which is, well, I just happen to have one right here. Okay, so I'm kind of a Doctor Who fan. And we see him, and he's dressed like a 50s guy. And at first, I'm sure a lot of people kind of got a Captain Jack vibe a little bit. Was he, was he from the Time Agency? And I'm like, okay, this is cool. Maybe he's there trying to stop whatever's trying to stop Rosa Parks too. But it turns out he was just a bad guy. He escaped from prison. He had something done to him where he can't kill anybody anymore. It'll cause him pain. And the doctor figures this out real quick. And all the doctoring and everything was very basic. I'm going to just point my sonic screwdriver at something and track him and find him. So the plot around the whole Rosa Parks thing was very basic. It was this guy wanted to just basically shift time. He didn't want to completely stop her. He was trying to do things like change the bus driver, change the route, cancel the route, make the bus break down, do something to stop it. And his whole motivation was because he was a racist and he wanted to keep black people in their place. But there was no reasoning behind this. We just know he was a murderer and that's it. And he's a racist who broke out of the storm cage, and that was it. So we go through Montgomery, Alabama with the doctor. And again, Graham is the best thing in here. He's always, complaining about being hungry and stuff. And he's pretty funny. But there's a couple situations where Ryan is in. And yeah, this was mainly just like on a basic level, an educational episode of television, and not done well, unfortunately. And I don't know why they would do this. They've done historical figures before, but in comparison, if you compare this to Vincent and the Doctor or The Unquiet Dead with Charles Dickens, which are two great period piece that deal with of the modern Doctor Who, that deal with historical figures with reverence. And there was reverence here. There was lots of reverence for Rosa Parks, and we see it, but it's very interesting that they chose this and not maybe something from England's history. I don't know, dealing with colonization maybe, or but they decided to deal with this, and I'm curious as to why. I think maybe they think it's a hot button issue that maybe the pretentious BBC thought, well, this is a very important episode of Doctor Who and it'll get people talking about it. That's not why I watch Doctor Who. Now, should we see documentaries about Rosa Parks? Yes. I mean, this is, this stuff has to stay out there. We don't want to, it's not like I don't want to hear about it ever. Okay. I think it's very important that it stays out there, and it's important that you put it in art. But if you put it in an episode of Doctor Who, which is supposed to be just kind of this fun, thrilling show, and it's something that this show hasn't been. It's been okay. It hasn't been as terrible as I thought it would be. The first couple episodes were okay at best. But as I'm seeing from the chat, and I've been hearing from a lot of people are dipping out on this one. And I don't blame them, because just as an episode of television, it was kind of boring. And I wish they would have shown Rosa Parks a little more respect and tried to put some more time into some better storytelling. Because you could have told this story. And it's hard to tell it with a fun angle on it. I think that's pretty close to impossible. But you could have told it with a little more complexity. And if people are coming at me with it's for kids, well, you can be complex with kids. You can. I have kids. They're not dumb. They're not dumb at all. I think, well, adults collectively can be pretty fucking dumb, though. That's for sure. And yeah, so that's my feeling on the episode. Like I said, it was just a space racist who came down and wanted to stop Rosa Parks. He couldn't kill her. So because he was, he had something done to his brain to where he couldn't kill anybody. He does choke the doctor at one point. There is an open-handed slap on Ryan at one point, and they don't drop any N-bombs, but they get pretty close. and they show the worst parts of 1955 Montgomery, Alabama, which is certainly those were there, not denying it. Yeah, I just don't know who this is playing for. Now, of course, I've read some reviews, which I usually don't do, and they're all glowing. And this is probably kind of a critic-proof episode. That's why I don't know how the hell I'm going to cover this. So hopefully y'all out there know that there's the message and then there's the episode. Message good, episode not. Sorry. The couple things I did like was the bank ski jokes. I can't say his name. That was kind of funny with the pen, the disappearing pen. Yes, and as I saw in the chat, there was a lot of shots looking up at the doctor. I did notice that. But yeah, it was a very basic episode. And if you could do a Rosa Parks episode, don't do a forgettable episode of television, which it kind of was. And I hate to say that. I don't want Doctor Who to fail. This is not my wish or desire. I am a huge fan. But as far as, like me, I own all the seasons of Doctor Who on many forms of media. I'm not going to be buying this one if it's apparently they're going to be continuing down this road. Like, this is what we're going to be getting for the most part, not what we got in the first two episodes, which were just kind of, I don't know. It's you can argue whether they were fun or not, but they were just basic Doctor Who episodes. So let's get to the chat. And I hope I made myself clear on that one. And if not, oh well, what can you do? Penn Farmgirl, thank you for the $5 super chat. I can't wait to hear what Dennis thinks of this of the new episode of Timeless. He will tell you on Friday. I will allow him to talk about it one more time. We try not to talk about shows we don't cover. But Dennis really loves that show. So, and it's his show too. So he can talk about it all he wants. Kato Rohn says, I'm so sad they soiled my memory of the Fonz with how they dressed the bad guy. Yep. They dressed the bad guy up as like the Fonz. And he was a douche. He was a space douche. We can call him a space racist or space douche. I think it's possible the villain is hiding his real motivations. Ivan, the problem is they really went Stephen Moffat on this episode, which was really throwaway. The villain is not important in any way, shape, or form. He is no threat at all. I never thought for a minute he would win. And every time the doctor kept destroying all his equipment, he was just all, well, I'll just get you with this, and I'll just get you with this, and she traps him on Earth. And he's not worried about it at all because it was a meaningless villain. It was, So they just wanted to do a Rosa Parks episode, but they didn't really want to get deep. Which then why do it? Honestly, I mean, it's something that's she is a great historical figure that if you want to do it, then do it, then go there. But they only kind of went there, and that's my main criticism, really. So. I think that he wanted to change the future, and Rosa Parks was pivotal in the timeline. Could have understood that wrong. I didn't understand his motivation was he wanted to stop Rosa Parks. The why, he said it to Ryan at the end, right before Ryan zapped him to the future. I think, like a long time in the future. He had a gun, a temporal. It was a lot like this gun. Except this gun like removes you from existence, but it was a temporal gun of some kind. So there was really nothing to the villain. It was just basically an educational episode of Doctor Who. Curious to see how the ratings hold up on this. The ratings were very strong for the first two episodes, but I'll remind you, they were very, there was a lot of interest in Star Trek Discovery in the beginning too. Graham is the best character in the show by far. Absolutely, Matthew. He is. He's the most complex. I am interested in his story. I'm okay with Ryan too. Ryan dealing with his mom's death, and and he's stuck with this guy he doesn't really consider his gramp. and just the stepfather, step grandpa situation is one, like a badly done after school special. Yes, Fickle, that's pretty much what it was. The Van Gogh episode, and that's like something like a Rosa Parks episode, if you really want to go there, should be moving at the end, like really when at the end of the episode, the doctor has to preserve the timeline, and by preserving it, they can't help her at all, and that is supposed to hit you in the gut, and they didn't even have like I think if Tenet was there, they didn't have Jodie Whittaker in tears at that moment, and they kind of should. And like, if we were going to go and do this whole story, we should have all been feeling it in the gut at the end, and we weren't, because it was just paint by numbers. It was paint by numbers. Oh man, Vincent and the Doctor episode is a crowning achievement of the Moffat era. Is it my favorite Moffat era show? It might be. It's one of my top two. That one is just devastating and good. I can watch it over and over again. I love that one. And it deals with it was fun, and it deals with suicide. It's Moffat. Did Moffat write that one? I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. Whoever wrote that one did a great fucking job. And same with the Charles Dickens one too. It was lighter fare than this for sure. But that was a Mark Gatiss episode, and I usually don't like his episodes. That's by far his best. I do like The Unquiet Dead, and the actor who played the one from Four Weddings and a Funeral played Charles Dickens. He's really good in that. Well, Mako, that's okay. And that's what I'm trying to explain is Rosa Parks. Nobody's doubting Rosa Parks is a hero. She's absolutely a hero. Never said that. That's why I said in the beginning, it's the message is great. Episode is bad. You should write a better episode for a very strong message, especially here. Especially when it's coming from, I doubt that was an American writer who wrote it. I doubt it was a Black American writer who wrote it. So we'll see. I can check real quick. Let me check real quick who wrote that episode. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. No, what the controversy would be, Mako, is why are you doing this in Doctor Who? It's a very powerful message in a light show, supposedly. Or are you not? Because they keep going back and forth, and they being the press. I don't know if it's actually BBC who's saying that, but I've seen 3 different things how they're describing the show. And I did hear one of them being, we're going to go more educational, and we're going to go, more for the kids. So they're going to go more YA with Doctor Who. People can argue that Doctor Who has been YA for a while, and I would say that's a really good argument. And that's partially why I've been dipping out. Now, I don't hate all YA. There's a few out there that I like because they're written pretty damn well, but there's a lot I'm not, because it's not written for me. I am neither I am neither an adult or young. Does that make any sense? The best sci-fi is when they do political poignant stories without bashing it over our heads, like TOS in some cases. Yeah, like this would be a good Star Trek story. It really would. Doctor Who has not done this fare very often. Star Trek has gone there more than once. Doctor Who has been much lighter. Much lighter. They've the one time they they did do Kill Hitler, but that was very, I know a lot of people don't like that episode. They just lock him in a closet. A person is smart, people are dumb. Thank you, Santo Dominus. That is true. Ivan said the episode had a 4.8 rating on IMDb before the airing. This episode wasn't exactly perfect, but part of the Doctor Who fan base bothers me. And yeah, I consider myself a Whovian. but the newer ones, yeah, it's just turned into a different show from when it started in 2005. It is looking to me like a show that is on season 11. It is. And they try to change it up, and there he goes. In real life, she was okay. Yeah, yeah. I like the problem. I got what you said there, man of action. I just gotta stay away from that stuff. I think the problem with the episode was the length. It should have been longer. Like the old Pertwee Baker episodes, the story could have been fleshed out more. And I agree. That's where, honestly, if they had a proper bad guy, I was kind of hoping that 50s guy was from the time agency and he was there because he identified the TARDIS and everything. I'm all cool. Are we going to get another character from the time agency? Maybe like I don't know, a Captain Jack like character. That would be cool. And then they both end up at the same place, like tracking the Atron energy, and it's some other big bad that has to, you know, wipe Rosa Parks from existence for some other reasons. Like it's something, there's some sort of fixed point in time, and then you can still deal with the horrible racism of the 50s in the South, and then still do some Doctor Who stuff. But there I go with my expectations. There I go. Oh God, sometimes the chat just goes bing on you. It's like, I don't know what just happened. I was going to read somebody's chat. There's a lot of chat in here that I want to get to. And thank you all for being here. Don't forget to lick that button. The guy with Martin Luther King was Rosa's husband, and there was another person there too. Actually, if they'd done it like that, where the Weeping Angels had targeted Rosa Parks and the doctor had to intervene and keep Rosa from knowing, that might have been better. Yeah. Oh, that's great, Jody. Jody should be writing for Doctor Who. That is a story I would watch. Carrie Dalton says, I am sure all the usual media suspects will tell us that this is the best episode of Doctor Who ever, and it's the bestest ever. And anybody who doesn't like it is racist and sexist. Yes, I'm waiting for that here. And I'll just remind everybody that if I was either of those things, I would not watch Doctor Who, Star Trek, The Expanse, live in San Francisco, be married to my wife, who's not all white, by the way. And yeah. Oh, and have that mixed race son that I have too. I liked the episode, but I was disappointed in the arrest scene. It came across like a music video about a walk to the dentist, not a dramatic moment where cops had to arrest somebody and didn't want to. Yeah, I mean, it was done so BBC. I okay, so I watched the BBC stream and I am fascinated. I love the UK in every way, shape, or form. I really do. Although the BBC annoys me a little bit. And I was watching that dancing show that's on afterwards that like every single person in Britain, I think, watches. Oh my God, you guys are cheesy over there in the best way. Really. I mean that with total respect, but cheesy. Oh man. This yeah, it was not anywhere near. I think the nicest thing I can say, it was an average episode. They did get the message across, but it was really basic. And I think they were afraid to go any further than they did. Um, I mean, and and not to sound like, it's a basic message. It's an important message, but on a very basic level that we all just racism is bad, and we know that. And I know there's large portions of the world, and there's parts here in San Francisco where that people are people, unfortunately. The silly thing is, he was from 2700 or something. I'd like to think that so many generations, the concept of ethnicity would be gone. If anything, Martians and Earthlings would be in conflict. Right, Cato Roan. And that's the problem I had, is somebody who can whoop up some temporal technology with all the stuff he had around him. And then he had that gun, not temporal, but he had a tracking device and stuff. I really need to know why. I think that's an important question to ask of your bad guy. He just wanted to stop Rosa because he didn't now listen, prison can be very bad, and their prisons are racially segregated. They are to this day. And that is for people's safety, believe it or not. I know they here in California, they tried, and maybe they did. The last time I heard, they tried to change that. I don't know how that worked out. I know that they cut out cigarettes in the prison, and it caused some rioting right there. Right. We don't want no education. We just want our Doctor Who. We don't need no education. They even had a line in there that she said, which was like, oh, your after school special line that I wrote down, that she says, education makes you unstoppable. Thank you for telling me that, Doctor Who. I would have never known that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes. I actually, this shirt came from my comic store. I ordered it through my comic store. I was, for a little while, my comic store, I was my best client, really not a good way. Yeah. Okay. There you go. What Jody says, like a dark Captain Jack. And two of the villains have been zapped away, so I'm pretty sure we're going to get these villains back. I could tear up just thinking about the ending of the Van Gogh episode. One of the reasons I like Matt Smith's Doctor, says Nally Shadow. Yeah, that was done real well, and that's something they could have done here. They really could have. I loved how Amy thought she had changed the timeline and saved Vincent, and then she found out he still died by his own hand and cried. I love Vincent's art and all the great painters. Yeah, and just that's what Doctor Who can do is, Doomcock was talking about. One of the greatest injustices of all time is the guy sold one fucking painting and never was recognized till years later. And just that moment, where that was, just he still died by his own hand, but he got to see that people loved his paintings beforehand. You want that to be real. God, it's like, man, life sucks. Really does sometimes. Yes, we did, Ivan. That is a great point. We saw Dark Captain Jack in Torchwood season 2. And he was done very well. Agreed. Sculpted leather art by Viking Bitch said, "I'm neither Y or A." Yeah, neither am I. I renounce my adulthood. I mean, I'll act like one when I need to. When I need to, I'm a dad, so no matter who wrote it, they should have done a better job. They should have gotten experts and consultants, especially when you're dealing with another country's history, and then you're going to show that show in that country. And I'll remind you that the ratings they mirror the UK ratings mostly, but of the last 2 episodes, they have not. So it's unbelievably popular in England, and here in America, it's the ratings was a 0.45 and a 0.42 in the 18 to 39 demographic, which translated to 1.2 2 million viewers for the opening episode, and then it dropped 18% on the second episode. And usually it drops a little more and then it hovers around. So it'll probably hover around, 700,000, which is an improvement on Capaldi. Capaldi's average ratings here in America were about 500,000. They were in the toilet. Towards the end of his run, it was a 0.1, and there was like 200,000 people watching Doctor Who here. So, and that's Moffat's fault. That's not Capaldi's fault. I say Capaldi's era, but that's not his fault. No Daleks this season, thankfully. I don't know if they're going to bring them in at all. They really talked about wanting to do their own villains. And what just Moffat couldn't do anything with the Daleks. Like Russell T Davies was genius with the Daleks. What's funny is if you would have asked me at the end of season 5, who was the better showrunner, I would have told you I would have told you Stephen Moffat. I was really that into it. But I have changed my mind. Russell T Davies is a genius with Doctor Who, and I think he presided over the best era of Doctor Who. While Tom Baker's run was long and great, it had some, towards the end it started petering out a little bit. But he owned every episode. God, I love Tom Baker. And I even say, like, I'm more of a Tenet guy, but I end up watching more Tom Baker episodes than anything. I'm so happy they finally came out with this first season on Blu-ray, and they're doing the 5th Doctor too on Blu-ray. I think that's coming out real soon too. I will do reviews for those on Patreon, and also on Patreon I'm going to be doing some Big Finish reviews. I own almost the entire Big Finish library. I haven't gone through it all. Man, it's good. Those guys are solid. Isn't that partially owned by Nicholas Briggs? Am I wrong on that? I thought the guy who does the voice of the Cyberman and the Daleks. That guy's good. That guy is very good. Oh, and another super chat from MovieFanobi, $1.99, saying hello, support, watching Daredevil on episode 10. Daredevil's good. Daredevil's good so far. I might have one little itsy bitsy thing to nitpick on it, and you guys will know what it is. But it's pretty fucking good. Yeah. So I'm gonna, as promised, I'm going to cover. I was not even going to cover Doctor Who, so I'm going to continue covering it the entire season, and hopefully it turns around. And if it wins me over, I will be the first to admit it, and I will put out an apology. Well, there's nothing to apologize for, but I'll just I'll make a little video for Jodie Whittaker saying I'm on board, but not on board yet. But it's not because of her. It's not because of her. It's because of the writing. And like I said before, it's not fair to her that this season it can't just be average. It has to be extraordinary, because Doctor Who's lost a lot of fans. And you're going, what are you talking about? They've got tons of fans. They had great ratings. Merchandising is way down. Everything is down still. This needs to be consistently good. Those readings need to stay really high. Now they don't have to stay, 8 million in the UK, which is extraordinary. 8.5 million, 10 million after it was done with all the streaming. And UK, who collects the UK ratings? Is it an independent agency, or do you get that from the BBC or ITV? I honestly don't know. We have an independent, the Nielsen's here, which is like this really ancient, stupid way to get ratings, and it's all based on overnights, and they do a 3-day DVR thing, and it's just dumb. So you in the UK do ratings way better than we do. Why don't they just get the people who behind the Big Finish to do Doctor Who? Jodie, what I heard was they had offered the show a lot of. Chibnall was not their first choice. That's what I heard. Now Silver Spike might know better, but Chibnall was not their first choice. Nicholas Briggs is awesome. Is better. Venture Brothers is better. I think Whittaker has potential, but she needs better material to play off. Doesn't she? Yes. Doctor Who had 4 million at its lowest. The Expanse had 600,000. Completely different shows, though. Completely different network. Now, Doctor Who in America had 300 or 250,000 at its lowest. Now, The Expanse is a show that's mainly for us. Doctor Who is a UK show first. The Expanse is an American show first. The Expanse is better than Doctor Who. It's not even, I mean, I don't care if two people are watching The Expanse. The Expanse is better than Doctor Who. It's Doctor Who has, I would say, where you could say Doctor Who was as good as The Expanse is at the end of Tennant's era. It's been years since Doctor Who has been like a phenomenal show. I have been watching it as a fan, but we all got to be real about, and people are now. It's time. It just takes time. Like everybody was on board with Moffat, but now it's a few years past and they're like, screw that guy, you know. Kato Roan, yep, 10 million is 30% of inhabitants, or pretty much every household. That's right. But we're talking about a country. I mean, my state is, I think, bigger than has more people in it than that country. What do you have over there in the UK? 30 something million? Am I wrong on that one? Is it 50 million? We're 30. We're almost 40 million here in California. And the funny thing is, there's areas where you would not see a person if you walked in this direction for 2 weeks up in Northern California. We're all crammed in the South. Yep, the American ratings barely broke 1 million, and they will be below 1 million for this episode. And it's not subject matter; it's just what the episode was. But this is how you make an episode critic proof. But that's why we got YouTube. Don't forget about Arbitron. Thank you, CD Horde. You're right. The Nielsen's do have competition. But yeah, I don't know who collects the ratings. I'm sure it's an independent agency. I always suspect all ratings. It's not just for Doctor Who. I think all ratings are kind of crap. Oh, by the way, if you guys are into the weird and the paranormal, I did a 5-hour live stream yesterday with Doomcock. I had the best time. It was so much fun. For those of you who were there, thank you for showing up. It was a good time had by all. We had to skirt around a couple things because when you're talking conspiracies, it can get a little touchy, but I think we did okay on that mark. And they've talked about Nixon before, and that was done well. That was funny. That was done funny. Now you can't go funny with Rosa Parks. I know. Yeah, I want a goddamn threatening villain. And that's, Doctor Who has a great rogues gallery. So I understand you want to make your own villains, but go back to the well. It's okay. There's plenty out there, and it doesn't have to be Daleks. Okay. I am a fan of the Autons, so I would, go with them or, but yeah, you know what? Stephen Moffat could not figure out old Doctor Who villains. And I know he's an old Doctor Who fan, but I just don't, you can tell when a writer doesn't take the material seriously. Like he just thought they were silly. I think Moffat just was a fan of Doctor Who, but outgrew it and just couldn't admit it to himself, maybe. Where Russell T Davies did not outgrow it. He was a kid playing in a sandbox with Doctor Who action figures. Hail the Exozone. Yeah, that was fun, man. That was so fun. It sucks. I had to bail early because Mrs. Nerdrotic was going to the air. Yeah, 5 hours, Tomcat. And it went on 40 minutes after I left. Well, you could take it in little pieces. They're going to be, I don't know if they're all going to be that long, but the thing is, we do want to like talk to you guys. That's why our reviews are long. Okay. Cause, honestly, it doesn't matter what I think. I want to hear what you guys think. And what I think today could change next week. Who fucking knows? Yeah. Actually, it was almost 6 as Penn Farmgirl. Yeah, it was 5 hours, 40 minutes. Davros, I look up because can I reach my Davros? See, this is why you come to the Nerdrotic channel, because I can just pull a Davros pretty much out of my ass. And yes, now there's a remote control one. This is not the remote control one. These were the best action figures. These are better than Star Wars action figures. These are better than those superhero Toy Biz action figures. These are, as a action figure connoisseur, which I kind of consider myself, as far as just like realistically painting, size, proportion, articulation, as far as little gadgets coming with them, these are bar none the best action figures ever made. As far as plastic action figures, now we can go to 1/6 scale. I'd have to differ on that one, but as far as, and then the size, they're 5 inches. They're perfect, not like, and they're not statue figures. They're not like in some weird pose, and you can't. They're freaking excellent, and kids can play with them. My kids, well, my youngest played. Well, yeah, you want a Cyberman? I actually, if you join up on the Patreon, you could probably get one. I have an army of Cybermen. So Cybermen. Why do I say Cybermen? Cybermen. I've been watching this show since the 70s, sitting up on my father's lap, watching it on PBS. I honestly can say that I'm very disappointed with how the show has turned out now, says William Winters. I remember I was watching it on PBS too. There's a huge Doctor Who contingent here in the United States, and I guarantee you the ratings, even for Jodie Whittaker's, are wrong. I think a lot of us are either watching streams on BBC or they're not counting something. There's more than 1 million people watching Doctor Who, even during its bad times. Special Weapons Dalek. Yes. Do I have the Special Weapons Dalek? Do I have it out? Oh my God. Hang on. Weapon. I'm trying to see. I don't think I have it out. Most of my stuff is boxed up. Okay, that's not the one I was thinking of. That's the special one. I don't think they made an action figure of that, did they? No, they didn't, or I'd have it. That's the one with a big old gun in the middle. I was thinking of something else. My bad. So special, if they made one and I don't have it, I got to get it. Let's do that live in the air. Dalek action. Or maybe I do have it and I just don't remember. Yeah, they got it. Okay, there it is right there. Holy crap. How could I not have that one? Thanks for bringing that up. Now I got to get it. So I thought I had them all. There's always one that's popping up. I even got the bee from the Agatha Christie episode. I had to, man, that was hard to find. I'm sure they're easy to find in the UK, but when it's a Build-A-Figure, so you got to buy like 6 figures to put it together. It's behind me. It's up there. What concerns me is I'm hearing people are talking about tonight's episode is the greatest Doctor Who episode they've ever seen. William Winters, and also in the show Titans, I'm also hearing that Starfire is the best character in the show, and we all know why people are saying that. Okay, it's and when anything is beyond criticism, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Now, that's just, that's manipulation. It is. I think any art should be able to be criticized freely, even if they want to take on tough subject matter, because you're not, again, criticizing the message. You're criticizing the messengers, and how they produce this message. But I mean, that's why more and more people are coming to YouTube, because we can have real conversations about this. Now, people can like actually think it's the greatest one they've ever seen, and that's cool. That's fine. That's their opinion. They're completely entitled to it. I'm not going to argue. I'm going to tell you your opinion is wrong. I'm just going to tell you what I think of it and why I think that way. And it's cool that we can actually communicate that here in the chat and not get nasty. So it's fine. And I'm sure there's people out there who are just hating this episode completely, but you're not going to hear that from IGN or Collider or anything like that. And unfortunately, remember, back in the, a long time ago, the media, newspapers and stuff used to be on our side, used to be looking out for us. They're not anymore. They're not. They're just, public relations for whatever company that owns them. And they're usually part of some media group. And, God, who knows? Most newspaper, well, Jeff Bezos owns a newspaper. So do you think that newspaper is going to criticize an Expanse or an Orange is the New Black or the Expanse episode? No, it was Orange, whatever's on Amazon Prime. Imagine rational thought and discussion. I mean, occasional we get pretty irrational around here. I mean, like, it's nerdrotic. All right. The villain was weak. The episode is very well made. I don't think it was well made, Mako. I think it was actually poorly written and poorly shot. I would give it a 4 out of 10. And especially I think it's, and I dock it a point for taking on a strong message and failing to convey, to get emotions out of us at the end, completely failing. Which honestly, that should be something that no matter how, I know, yeah, I don't, it just should be something because you should be able to get something dramatic out of that. And they didn't. And it's not like I'm this cold, heartless guy. Yeah, poorly shot. Absolutely poorly shot. I can point out a couple things. The hotel room was poorly. All those up angles of people standing on the bed. Yeah, it was very average editing, paint by numbers editing. Especially because the first 2 episodes were actually shot pretty well, very well. That TARDIS crystal in the middle going up and down. There's a lot of jokes there that I'm just going to leave alone. I'll leave them for you in the chat. That is the worst TARDIS interior I've ever seen. Again, doing Jodie Whittaker no favors. What were they thinking with that TARDIS interior? My bet is they change it next year. Yeah, it was just not a good episode. Like I said, I compare this to Fear Her. I compare this to Fear Her from Doctor Who season 2 from the 2005 series. I know that's technically let's do it like the UK says, series 2, which is actually series 2 would be, what did it go, 27 seasons? So it was series 2. So that was like series 29. Is series 2 considered series 29, 30, something like that? Which is the Fear Her, which is towards the end of the season, and it's about it's about child abuse. So it's got a very strong message in there and a really poorly told story. How dare we fans ask for quality TV? I know. How dare you? I hope so too, Mako. But I'm not like the female doctor thing. I could get over. Probably if they really just told some good stories, and it could be nothing more than. But honestly, I wasn't completely sold on Capaldi, and again, it wasn't his fault. They just never really established him. But by the time he was established as a doctor, he had lost his companion, and he was in his last season. And they made us wait a year, and they gave us garbage. It was garbage. Season 10 was bad. And look at the American ratings for that. Again, 200,000 people were watching it towards the end. Nobody cared. So they needed to do something drastic to get people to care again. And then they just come out with average TV. And that's kind of, oh my God, that's what we're fighting for. That's what we're getting when these big corporations buy IPs we love. They come out with like just homogenous, droll, boring, it's like white, gray pieces of paper. It's like being in a beige room without anything on the walls, and yeah. And then, that whole the UK perspective on us is so it's stereotyping as anything, and it's fine. I don't care. But if you watch the Matt Smith episodes, like every American has a gun, which is funny because we're all packing. We're all walking around just packing all the time. Yeah. Yeah. And we just eat cheeseburgers and well, okay, we do like those. We do. I'm not going to deny that. I wonder if there's ever going to be an In-N-Out in the UK. Is there one in the UK? You guys would go freaking nuts if there was an In-N-Out in the UK. It's so good. Yeah. Oh man, and honestly, this we are asked a lot why we don't cover Black Lightning, and it's a CW show, number one, and number two, if it was a straight up superhero show that just dealt with superhero stuff, we'd probably cover it. But I don't want to get into political discussions, and it would be impossible to cover that show without political discussions. And I know that's part of the show, and that's kind of what we want to stay away from here. And if Doctor Who keeps going down this road, then I'm probably just not going to cover it, because I just want to talk about space and freaking Daleks, or the proto molecule, or or Perception and Mr. Robot, something like that, or Perception in Legion. I want to, the Shadow King, one of the best villains on TV, a horrible villain. That's what makes that show great, is the Shadow King. And then we talk about what's the Shadow King. I'd rather, look at, okay, I'll end it on this. Farscape. I'm getting really into Farscape. Thank you, Viking bitch. Could you imagine Farscape doing a show like this? Because Doctor Who used to be like Farscape. It was weird and wonderful and fun. And Farscape lives in its own distinctive world, but it really does tonally kind of look like Tennant's era of Doctor Who. It does, with the wacky aliens and stuff. Now that, Farscape does the puppetry and aliens better than Doctor Who, but I still like Doctor Who's storytelling in the Tennant era a little more than Farscape, but they could live in the same universe easily. And you can almost see like Arthur Dent showing up on on either show. Farscape, if it was going to tackle an episode like this, it would have done it better. I don't think it would have, though, because we want escapism. So yeah, there's no actual controversy with the show itself, other than if somebody just says they don't like the episode, they're probably going to get destroyed. But we risk that here, because I think most of you guys know me, so hopefully. Anyway, but I will end this one here. I've gone way longer than I meant to. I meant to do a short one, but you guys had a lot to say. I hope you feel heard. Sorry I did not get to everybody's chat. What is this? Rob? What's up, Rob? I don't think we have an In-N-Out burger on the East Coast. You don't. Now I'm sure you guys have an equivalent out there. You probably have some burger that's like the best ever, and it probably is. But as far as burger chains go, In-N-Out is amazing. The burgers taste the same now than they did 25 years ago. They're just brilliant. And they're basic. It's a real basic, simple menu. It's burgers, fries, and a drink. There's no like different burger. I mean, you can do animal style, but the fanciest thing they do is they either put cheese and onions on it or not. But that's it. It's just how it's made. And the reason it got popular is because it was In-N-Out burger, And on the sticker, if you take away the B and the R at the end, it used to say In and Out Urge, and everybody had that sticker on the back of their car. So there you go. I wonder if Mako knows there's a car painting place called Better Get Mako. All right. Farscape does get dark. It does, but it's still fun. It's still absolutely fun. Doctor Who should never get dark. Ever, ever, ever get dark. It can have dark moments, but they tried that. It's called season 8. Didn't work very well. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see the ratings, not what people have to say at IGN or Collider. I'll be interested to see what other YouTubers have to say about this. But there you go. All right, everybody, you have a great night. Oh, wow. Santo Dominus, thank you for the Canadian $10. Great Sunday stream. Thank you very much. I got to thank the super chats. And while I'm doing that, what the hell? I've taken this long. Might as well do the Patreon video. Now I got to add somebody else on it. Now, we had a great Patreon hangout this morning. That was fun. We do a hangout every Sunday. We're going to start doing it on Discord. So come on, open up. There we go. Sharing to everybody. And I will also thank our super chatters, which are Penn Farmgirl for $5, MovieFanobi for $1.99, and Santo Dominus for Canadian $10. How's it going, eh? And as they go across, I will thank Man of Action, Nihilist Shadow, Mary Ashmead. Thank you for coming in with the wrench. Appreciate it. Mako, you are always appreciated. You're very, the Mako is awesome and has a wrench. And we have Captain Spaulding, Cato Roan, Edward Brewer, sculpted leather art by Viking Mitch, another great wrench. Robot Shlomo. What's up, Rob? Midnight's Edge After Dark. Check them out. Mecha Random 42. Mecha Random 42. Check her out. They both have channels. Like, share, and subscribe. Carrie Dalton. Did you do one more? I already said it. Matthew Matson. How's it going? A great patron there. Going back up. Populi Suprema. Welcome aboard. Nihilist Shadow. Did I say your name already? But whatever. Jasper Antonelli. Welcome. William Winters. And right there, you're seeing the comic books you get at our $5 level. And then next, you will see a representation of what you get in our $15 level. Some action figures, some comics. It's a What's in the box. One of these days, I'm going to have it like, I'm going to have a screaming Brad Pitt on it. That's the whole thing. We did a video of What's in the box. I got to put that up on Patreon. It's actually pretty horrible scene in 7, but you know, we're trying to laugh about things here, trying to have some fun. And peace and live long and prosper to you, Robot Shlomo. We do appreciate it. I don't know if are you guys going live later? What's going on? Doors and corners, everybody. The Expanse voting has ended, so hopefully it wins. Hopefully Doctor Who gets better and does not go down a road of getting preachy or even worse. I mean, I can handle some preachy. Okay. The Doctor is a sanctimonious asshole, always in any form. And we love that about the Doctor, but don't be basic with it. I mean, like, if you're going to go there, come on, give us something to talk about. So, yeah. See everybody at the Nooner tomorrow morning. That is our next show. And tomorrow night, Daredevil season 1 review. Dennis and I will be reviewing the entire season. So far, so good. Good stuff. Netflix has been pumping out some pretty good stuff lately. But hopefully next Friday they won't cancel another Marvel show. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jessica Jones is next, even though they are doing a 3rd season with her. Yeah, the rumors I hear is everybody's gone. So everybody's gone. That's too bad. Now I have to go purchase a special weapons Dalek on eBay. because I still got my old Doctor Who. And yeah, if you guys are into the paranormal, I did a really long show on Doomcock's channel last night, and I had so much fun. It was a blast. The chat was on fire. It was great. Go check it out on Overlord DVD's channel. Everybody, you have a great night. Thank you again for joining me. May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Ciao, everybody.